All right, welcome to today's explainer. So, if you use the internet, and well, since you're tuning into this right now, you definitely do, you are navigating the massive, almost infinite world of the World Wide Web literally every single day. But how exactly do you get there? And once you're actually in, how do you find anything? Today, we're going to break down the actual mechanics of how we interact with the internet by looking at the two most fundamental tools we have at our disposal.
Okay, let's dive into this. It's a question that sounds super simple, yet it trips up so many people. I mean, we use these two terms interchangeably all the time, but technologically speaking, they do two completely different jobs. If you want to truly master how the modern internet works, you absolutely need to know the clear distinction between these everyday tools.
To demystify all this, we've got a really clear journey ahead of us today. We'll hit Section 1, the gateway to the web. Then Section 2, examples of web browsers, and Section 3, history of the browser. After that, Section 4, searching the web's data, Section 5, evolution of search engines, and finally we'll put them head-to-head in Section 6, browser versus search engine.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, the gateway to the web, entering the www.
So think of the World Wide Web as a giant sprawling universe. You can't just step into it out of thin air, right? You need a specific door. And that door is your web browser. A web browser is an actual piece of application software. It's a physical program that you install, and it resides right there on your client machine, your laptop, your phone, your tablet. And what's really interesting about this is the dynamic. You've got a client and a server. You, sitting at your machine, are the client making a request. The server is out there somewhere in the world providing the service and sending data back to you. The browser is that application living on your device that acts as your literal gateway to access the web. Moving right along to Section 2, examples of web browsers, tools to access the web. Now, you definitely know these names. These are the actual application programs you click on to get onto the web. We've got Opera, Google Chrome, and of course Safari. And actually, here's a fun little reality check from our source data. Safari is the default browser on Apple devices. It comes pre-installed, right? But very often, what do people actually use Safari for? They literally open it up just to download Google Chrome. It's kind of funny, but by default, Safari is that gateway program provided to you. You also have Mozilla Firefox, Microsoft Edge, and, well, let's pour one out for Internet Explorer. It's defunct now, but it definitely paved the way for so many of us. But yeah, all of these are application software.
Which brings us to Section 3, history of the browser, how it all started.
For this, we have to go way back to 1990. The creator of the very first web browser was none other than Sir Tim Berners-Lee, who you probably know as the father of the World Wide Web. He basically built this first browser just to interact with the web he was helping to create. But the internet didn't stay just a purely academic tool for long. Fast forward just a few years to 1993, and we see the rapid emergence of the first truly popular browsers. Mosaic hit the scene, which made the web way more accessible, and soon after that came Netscape. These were the absolute pioneers that turned the web from this niche technical space into a place, well, everyone wanted to visit.
All right, on to Section 4, searching the web's data, finding what you need. Okay, so you've got your browser installed. You've walked through the gateway, and you are officially inside the giant world of the web. Now what? How do you actually find anything? Well, you need a specific technology for searching, and that is what a search engine is. Notice the big difference here. A browser is an application you install. A search engine, on the other hand, is a commercial website or a web-based technology. You don't install a search engine on your hard drive. You visit it using your browser. It basically acts as your guide, combing through the endless amounts of data on the internet to find exactly what you're looking for.
Let's move to Section 5 and see how this builds. Evolution of search engines, finding data over time. Just like browsers, search engines have their own origin story. And if you want to know your internet trivia for an upcoming exam or just to sound smart, definitely anchor these names in your memory. The very first search engine technology was called Archie. It was pretty rudimentary, but completely groundbreaking at the time. Later on, as the web really started to grow, we got the most significant early web search engine, Alta Vista. Before the modern giants took over, Alta Vista was literally the ultimate go-to guide for finding data online.
And what do those modern giants look like today? Well, we have commercial search websites that are absolute household names. There's Bing, Yahoo, Baidu, Ask, and of course, the undisputed heavyweight Google. Oh, and we absolutely can't forget DuckDuckGo. Our source specifically notes how popular DuckDuckGo has become, and that's driven in no small part by its very quirky, unusual, and totally memorable name. These are the websites you're typing your questions into once your browser has successfully connected you to the internet.
Bringing it all together now in Section 6, Browser versus Search Engine, the final showdown.
Okay, let's look at them side by side. On the left, the web browser. It is the application software sitting on your physical client machine. It's the gateway, the door, the vehicle that actually gets you onto the World Wide Web. Then, on the right, the search engine. It's the commercial website you visit to search for specific data. So the absolutely crucial point here is this. You use a browser to access a search engine. You open your application, like Chrome or Safari, and within that application, you navigate to a website, like Google or Bing, to actually find your data. Basically, one gets you inside the building, and the other helps you find the specific book on the shelf.
It's a really fascinating dynamic. And, as technology progresses, companies are increasingly blurring these lines, right? They're building search bars directly into the interface of our browsers, so it just feels like one seamless action. Which leaves us with a pretty provocative thought. As browsers and search engines continue to merge into single, unified apps on our phones and laptops, will future generations even notice the difference between the gateway and the guide? It's definitely something to think about the next time you pull out your phone to look something up. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking questions, and I'll catch you next time as we dive into another fascinating topic.